that's part of the nature of those direct 50-50 splits. You can test at Rebels Roost inside that building. You know where the fort respawns are going to be at, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to pick up something worth going for in the first place. Malabuka, Merstash, on the other hand, restored reels. Saw that little flash by Merstash of the drop map. Love the printout, but Merstash, he's got his eyes set onto Alex's head right now, and that's going to be his first elimination here. Oceania, things are looking a little bit grim there at Restored Reels.
Up against EU, not so much up against NA, as honestly, Resigns and Damo have managed to really hold their own up against Clix and Vino, but you know, Clix and Vino have played very passively, if you will. I think they are recognizing this opportunity before them, and they don't want to just throw it all to the wind because they're being contested. They're willing to play a little bit smarter, and we actually love that because we've seen very different engagements go down when a team's contested. Sometimes they want to headbang right into one another and see what happens. So the results of this drop spot have actually worked out relatively favorable, even for Damo and Resigns there.
Yeah, but at the same time, how much better still would it be if Clix and Veno had it all to themselves by Sandy Steps? Cold, Acorn on the other hand, we saw the differences during the halftime preview of Andalake Sato's success in comparison to Acorn and Cold's. And Cold, alongside Acorn, they are looking to keep the streak going strong here at Brutal Beachhead. Andalake and Sato, they need to come up massive if they don't want to end off with a huge point differential for day two. Even with that 1.5 times point multiplier, it's still a big ways to climb.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the stats. It's a pretty significant gap between Andalex's capabilities and Sato's versus what Acorn and Cold have managed to do in this game. And this is why you're seeing them push up with such confidence. However, we do know these are all players that are very much qualified to be here, quite literally and figuratively. So you cannot let your guard down. One mistake and it'll be the end of your game, that's for sure. Even now, Cold and Acorn say, hey, you know what? You have the high ground. You defended well. We're going to back off.
Sato and Andalix are definitely hoping that they'll be able to turn things around here in match 4, but at the very least, they do know that they'll still have that opportunity for VOD review, maybe reconsider exactly what their plan of attack might be, but Flixie and Vico already making sure to tear apart everything that resides at the bottom. They know that they're gonna have to deal with some other teams soon, but they like their position of control right now.
Gotta get that medal one way or another. For Thomas HD and Queasy, they do the same, scrapping every opportunity up here. And you know, Thomas HD and Queasy, we kind of talk about their draw spot being so desolate, right? There's no teams nearby. It really is such a significant difference, I would say, between, you know, how their tournament is going down here versus the likes of really any other team. Another team that had a similar position was Booga and Aviv, but we haven't even been able to see what they can do. Because if we were to look north, they have a similar situation, really no one nearby, but what is it that's missing there, right?
Yeah, they kind of have to forge their own path, create their own engagements, essentially, and hope that teams are willing to even bother with fighting back, because so many different circumstances now. We've seen teams just immediately go on the retreat, go on the defensive, not necessarily looking
kind of talk about
to
their
be as aggressive, and that has definitely resulted in some teams struggling
literally
with their surge, but Hoyo revealed medallion as well. Plenty of ammunition as well inside of that Striker Burst assault rifle, so Peterbot Hoyo hoping to secure this forecast tower for themselves.
See what happened there, though? They stepped to that forecast tower. Vino and Clix is like, oh, time to go. So we saw in the interview, Peterbot was willing to call out Clix and Vino and say, I dare you to come meet me, but we all know it's probably not a good idea. Rise and Yuma, however, from second place, they fall down 5 placements after the last game because of an early game fight. This time, after weighing even what happened there, they feel like it was worth it. And they're coming back into another pretty battle here.
But for Yuma and Rise, already running relatively thin as far as their material count is concerned. And it seems like Yuma would at least prefer to disengage for the time being, but a shot from overhead, Swizzy in the distance, but Walks still behind. Yuma and Rise might find themselves unintentionally pincered here. Slurp Trek gonna buy them a little bit more time though. They'll at least be able to box up, hope for some safety net to come into play. But at least with the shield refresh, now they're hoping to maybe take that fight because at the very least they need the siphon materials.
Yeah, they'll need to get the damage. They'll need to get active here. Muzz and Epic Whale on the move right now. What we've noticed about this team is those mid games. Really, really, really tough positions to be in as they found themselves in just a jam. It really feels like from time to time, but they can just overcome that, see what they did right in game one and mirror that performance. We'll see them jumping right back up into the conversation in no time.
And something else that's important to know, you have to keep in mind, Muzz and Epic Whale, they're kind of landing at that same drop as Reet and Ritual over by Doomstott, except Reet and Ritual, they are fully in control of the Mysterio, and they like to collect that mythic Sovereign shotgun. That's the most important aspect for those two by Doomstott. So for Muzz and Epic Whale, I think at times they may have considered, do we want to challenge for that Mysterio bot and take over the goods that Reet and Ritual have essentially been hoarding all to themselves, but at the same time, that's not going to be an easy accomplishment. It seems as though Reet and Ritual got the advantage there.
It's not looking good right now. Teeny is here, Chop is here, and they take down Murstache and Malabuka, but not before Chop gets finished there. And it seems like there was another team. Is that Rise and Yuma that just stepped up out of nowhere? No, it's TT Rise and Cooper, the NA players. Agers and Rise obviously playing with one another. Cooper and Kanata, they're in the distance, side by side.
Could be a big moment though for Rise and Agers. They've been trying to claw their way up the leaderboard essentially, and the same could be said for Cooper and Kanata. And Restored Real is bound to draw a little bit more attention. Look at Teeny just trying to squeeze his way out of there, fully understanding
he gets up.
It is not worth sticking around at this point. Too much attention having been drawn.
Take a look at this, the open edit Malabuka Murstache falls, so Teeny still earns a little something here. It's not for nothing, but losing his teammate in the process, we're not even sure if he gets the reboot card, so we'll see how that develops in the coming moments. But first, Reet and Ritual have a big, big task in front of them, and that's currently escaping the grips of Asia's Yoda and Mipoli, who's hunting them down right now. All in efforts to fight for the bunker. These bunker fights have been not going in the favor of Reet and Ritual. I think they're realizing, like, this is a little bit more difficult to do on the global stage than it is on just the NA region. Some qualifications and armored walls to secure the win here, forcing them into a bad camera angle. Reet has to think twice about doing that again.
Reet just trying to make sure that he can actually escape, recognizing the fact Juice not worth the squeeze at this moment. Sharam, Zagu though, seemingly in control of the weapons bunker for the time being. Zagu already at the bottom of it. He's gonna make his way over to that weapons mod bench as well. Make sure to prioritize exactly all the little goodies he would prefer, but Reet, Ritual, they've had an opportunity to recuperate. Feeling healthier. They're ready to re-engage with Sharam and Zagu, but they have to be careful. Reet fully understanding he can't just recklessly spin current corners.
Ritual looking for an angle here. Armor wall's gonna put a full-on stop to that and force to the outskirts here. Another wall comes down. Zagu and Sharam are really, really tempting them now, baiting them into these terrible, terrible peaks, and they're winning every single trade here. The one downside, though, is that they're running halfway now on armored walls as they've used half of the reservoir, but they own the bunker. Who cares at this point, right? This is a full-on refresh opportunity now.
Slightly better situation, at least for Sharam and Zagu and Reet and Ritual. They've spotted out our material count. It's entirely too low. We weren't able to capitalize on finding an elimination or two, so now they have to fixate on just rebuilding their material count in the first place, and that as well is bound to cause a little bit of, you know, trickle effect damage toward Reet and Ritual's game plan long term, because they're missing out on surge tag damage time.
Speaking about Aviv and Bugha, they've taken now Reason, now looking to see if they can claim Vadil here, just aside the Doom's courtyard. It's a big rotate in, Vadil left by himself. Everyone decides to back off. Very interesting that two duos shown up, and The two duos are like, wait, there's someone else here. So very unaware of what's happening at the moment. For that reason, they give the respect. And I'm sure Vidil's trying to wrap his head around, where did everyone go?
That's a different level of paranoia altogether. I mean, no one, at least inside of those boxes, and yet Vidil still crouching around, still trying to stay as tucked away as possible. Can't really fault him, though, when you factor in the caliber of player that all of these teams are essentially stacked up against. Yeah, there's good reason to be concerned about which wall you face next, but Vico, Flixie, back into the thick of it. Seems like they've got a slight overhead advantage. Right side peak, though, not going to be there just yet for Vico. Flixie instead, different approach altogether. He's on the same level as Ed and Persa, just putting immediate pressure onto the walls in front.
Any team that can pop off today and finish inside the top 10 will have a real fighter's chance to run away with things tomorrow. Tomorrow's a 1.5x day, so setting up your foundation is so critical to your success. Vico gets just punished by Persa's shot there. Little reset now as Ed tries to get the heals here. They're fully back up into the swing of things.
Definitely a bit of a sucker punch as well for Vico when you really think about it, because the way that he was charging in there, it seemed like he had zero concern that anybody was going to be able to piece him up in that moment. Nearly meant his own downfall for it, but Persa, Ed,
oh my God,
they're actually finding the smallest angle, tearing up the toes there from Vico and Flixie.
Very, very important tags. That's going to set them up with a very solid damage lead now. Off they go. Meanwhile, Reet looks like he's continuing to get active, but look, 4th place is out, 5th place is out. The standings now starting to gap away. Thomas HD and company, Trulips and company are the closest two, but our 1st place lead, Peterbot and Boyo here, set up for the Rift Island. They continue to fight for it. It's like you see it spawn and you know, all right, who's gonna be there? It's this team right here.
Nah, for me, it's the fact that Peterbot just lit King up, trying to rip by the side of Rift Island there. And Peterbot, we heard it direct when he was doing that interview with Adam Savage. My aim is on another level right now, and that might be the most perfect example imaginable. He is definitely looking like a bit of a menace there now, with the height leverage as well from the top of Rift Island. Other teams have really got to be wary of exactly how they're choosing to rotate. And I think that this is a prime opportunity as well for Peterbot and Boyo to essentially control the flow of the lobby.
Yeah, and it's good that he gets to show it off as well, but talk about controlling the flow of lobby. Reet is keying right now, on the move, on the hunt here. Reet and Ritual continue to find teams to fight. This time, even with a health at disadvantage, they have the height advantage.
Yeah, but Reet, he could get full HP whenever he wanted to. He's gonna go ahead and split a naked off with Ritual as well, and they'll take this moment to pause the action, make sure that they are as healthy as possible. We even get an opportunity to hear direct how that elimination went down just now for Reet.
Got it. 140, 140!
Nice, I'm getting in.
I'm jumping in. I'm in.
Full box.
On me.
100 dead!
Nice, bro. Chill
Yep.
now. Chill now.
At the body?
The tone set up though. He's like, all right, chill now. Like, let's relax.
It's like it's too crazy.
Yeah, we got it. Really showing us the emotion that happens when a team clashes. Things really, really peak up.
It's crazy. Still, that was a left side peek through the window edit, and Reet, the fact that he's able to come out on top for that one.
I think that's a problem he's got. We've seen him actually get
He loves that.
punished for that. Jumping to a Jonas and Pixie though. South side here, zone's pulling far north. They notice that they have to move sooner rather than later. This is where
Wow.
strategy really comes into play here.
See that drop in the damage threshold though? 515 above, immediately chopped to 189. It's evident that everyone's kind of picking up the pace here. Janice, Pixie, fully aware of the fact that they've now got a duo right next to them. It's gonna be Andalex and Sato even, and Andalex, he knows he's got so much ground, so much time he needs to make up for, but Andalex immediately 180'd upon Pixie, gonna be there for the supportive cover. Now it's all up to Sato to keep his duo's hopes alive, and Sato calls through.
Good tag there, and honestly, it was a combination of the damage Andalex put down, Sato coming in to finish the fight, but someone else has arrived. It's another solo. Just looking, it's the reigning and returning champion Cooper who's here to fight. He's got a huge disadvantage on the HP, but he is still looking to tag, but no. Sato finding his stride in the late half of the tournament after being, again, contested fully up against Acorn and Cold. Come out of that, overcome that drop spot, and now find themselves 3 eliminations in super quick succession.
But even though it's a brief moment of relief here for Sato, the fact that he managed to survive this whole exchange, unfortunately still, it's all an uphill battle. Sure, you've got 3 eliminations, but you are a solo now, trying to make your way out of the storm. Not sure how that's gonna pan out for him, but this is massive right now. Peterbot Poyo, sure, they might have a little bit of a gap between themselves and everybody else on the leaderboard. 56 points to be exact, but at the same time, Peterbot, he's already a solo in the 6th zone.
Peterbot may have his community on his back, but the rest of this lobby, the rest of the world is hoping he does not perform well. Acorn is gonna be the resulting team of the reason Poyo is down and out. And this is good for everyone else. Obviously not so good for Peterbot, right? He's got such a strong lead, he could break away with it and nearly solidify a first place to close the day. However, this gives everyone else a realistic chance now that they can take down basically the kings of NA.
And that looked more so like Acorn and Cole delivering a much needed heat check to Peterbot and Poyo, kind of just reminding them, you might be first right now, but if you're not careful, we'll still look to take over. Granted, Acorn Cole currently sitting outside of the top 5 even. They know that they also need some very valuable eliminations and placement points if they want to make up the difference at this stage, but Rise still operating as a solo, doing what he can, but there is just so much that stands between him and his next movement.
Yeah, it's not looking too good right now, and all things considering, with 100 damage below, he's got to do something big here. Now, teams are going to start moving, so maybe it's not wise of him to move first just yet, but got to hit these tags when the opportunities open up here. First one's a miss. No second reveals itself, so now he has to push his way in. He sees Crisp here. Crisp comes in. This is one of his chances, and he finds the tag there. Meanwhile, what's happening on the other side? Clicks also similar pressures, but they find the Asian chance of Bobby on the backside of the zone there, and Larpex, and take them down.
And that was a nice moment as well for Clicks and Veno, because as you can see, they are just barely managing to stay above water at this point. 27 above on the damage threshold, be exact. And Veno already taking note, some teams that might be elevated a little bit higher than their current position, but Yuma has absolutely no idea where these shots are pulling in from. It looks like he's getting lit up from 2 different directions, and Batman Booga actually gonna be the one credited for that takedown, but Veno, Clicks, just chopping directly through the center. They've done a decent job as well of making sure to go unnoticed.
Clicks out of ammunition for his rifle. This is the worst we have seen this duo, and arguably the most important game right now. So all they have is each other at this point, and this is why they continue to remain below the surge, is because they don't really have the rifle ammo to find the tags. These shotgun pelts, I mean, they're not much. They're not going to do much. You have to take one of these wall-to-wall exchanges here. Strawberry Fizz comes out. Great catch here. It's Rapid who falls. And I think, again, they lose the elimination credit. However, the damage, though, is theirs.
And the body loot as well.
Very
Veno
nice.
just practically refreshed the max mats. But most importantly of all, MDF, they've got the relief that they needed as far as that surge damage is concerned. Veno clicks in a box up momentarily, but Thomas HD from above. The Monarch pistol just continuing to pose such a massive problem for everybody else looking to rotate inwards.
The power of knowing where the zones are going, it almost feels like they just have it all locked in. Thomas HD and Queasy here continue to do these wonderful rotates. The first to take a stab at some of this positioning, and it's starting to show off.
They've got half of their game plan already formulated in live action. They took height for the time being. Now they just need to not get eliminated. Peterbot as well, fighting his way through this lobby, refusing to budge. You would think that he's still a fully intact duo with the way that he plays. So much swagger inside of his own gameplay. Venno also barely managing to cling on to life, but 5 eliminations as well for Clix and Venno at this stage.
I was gonna say barely holding on, but Venno was there still. Just Flowberry Fizz, the refreshes now. Things are starting to come together. Peterbot's got his eyes on the prize here, though. This is the villain arc for Peterbot right now, unfolding before our eyes here. He continues to swing his way through this crevice here, but no! Doesn't take the first shot as a warning, and that's a huge mistake now. The first mistake we have actually seen from Peterbot right there. He should have known better.
Clix on the other hand, he's gonna get credit for Gadu. CM might still be kicking somewhere, but at least for right now, Clix, Venno, they're managing to find the refreshes when they need them most. Flixie and Vika, though, they've taken note of the team across the way from their current position. They're looking to try and get the chop from secondary height. Flixie, in fact, even hoping that he continues to build up. He's trying to cut off Queasy, and he finds him falling straight to the ground.
Queasy jumps up and just gets melted there. That's the problem with the Flowberry Fizz. Unfortunately, now Vico and Flixie have a real opportunity here to take high ground, secure it, solidify their spot straight to the end game. Meanwhile, noticeable names alive. Booga, Aviv, Quanti, and Gone still standing. Ed is in this lobby. Acorn and Cold are still alive.
Wow.
And the save from Thomas HD onto Queasy, though, was definitely not something I saw coming.
Acorn and Cold now, they're gonna opt to layer swap through the low ground, making their way, crossing over all this natural terrain provided by Castle Doom. But again, the high ground, it belongs to Vico and Flixie. They are seeking out full control of this fourth lobby here, and everyone is folding underneath them. Flix down to his final 2 HP. Will he have a moment? Finally gets an opportunity to pop a small shield potion, but again, just scrambling, doing everything in his power to survive. He's got players funneling in ult from every direction, and it's not going to be enough. Clix has been taken out.
He did find Booga there, though. A big elimination for him. Look at this. Trulex and Chicho once again in the end game. Just going for the heal off, looking for a top 10 solidified spot. But it's not going to be easy. This Castle Doom is very hard to navigate across. Remember, these walls are extremely high HP, but look who's back in action. Thomas HD is almost figuratively and literally putting Queasy on his back this game right now, and Queasy gave him the credit last round, and rightfully so. We're seeing him really work for it. Acorn falls now. Booga, Aviv still alive here. We couldn't have found a better time to talk about them, because they've managed to rat their way through the castle here, and now finding Max to stay alive and get back. Meanwhile, Flixie and Vico jumping their way back up into this top 5.
Flixie and Vico from the rooftops now by Castle Doom. Booga and Aviv functioning out of the attics exclusively, but Thomas has lost Queasy yet again, only this time no opportunity for the revive. In fact, he's down and out for the count as well. Skrull doing everything he can to just try and make it back into zone, but it's all up to Vico and Flixie to hold their ground. They're gonna cut Skrull off in the process. Vico nearly gets credit for the knock, but instead we'll have to watch that one slip away.
Vico finds that extra elimination, though. They are slowly cutting down the poles here, getting closer and closer to the roots. Give a look at it. 7 elims for Flixie and Vico. Booga and Aviv not looking to jump up into the flames that are Vico and Flixie. Give it a second, though. No match. They have to continue to farm here. And like we talked about, this building, very, very interesting to try to navigate through. Armored wall comes in. At the very least, Booga's trying to, make this a war of attrition, and they find an elimination. Another big one here. More points here Vico and Flixer coming down. They had enough of the weight. They find Aviv on the backside there. Vico losing a lot of HP to the Storm, though.
Vico nearly getting trapped in the process there, but unfortunately for Aviv and Bugha, they're going to get caught inside the structures. They're trying to work their way through. Aviv barely has it, but Vico and Flixie, just a little bit more HP to work with. They bring this one home.
And it's almost like they just keep doing it now. Vico and Flixie, a very, very clearly strong duo here, showing up in spades, putting up the performance, and you can see the look on their faces is expression of pure excitement. They're ready to.
Alrighty, would you please put your hands together for your game 4 winners? It's Vico and Flixie! Come on up here, boys. Come on, enjoy the moment. Enjoy the moment. Unbelievable there. You guys are always so smiling, so happy, and you must be very happy with the Victory Royale. Talk me through the moment there. We saw that taking the high ground, Queasy goes down, courtesy of beaming out the sky, your partner in crime here. That was the goat right there. That was a big moment, right? Capturing that high ground really made that game yours.
Yeah, exactly. We just decided to key like forecast this game because we said if we get forecast, we just guarantee win, you know, because we needed like a win to get comeback. So we just decided to play hide on that, and then yeah, they just counter spade, and Felix just said the spade, and yeah.
It was pretty special.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was. I mean, talk us. You came very close. I think it was game 2. You guys came second place as well. You had a really kind of like really tight go of things there. But eliminations are working well. Standings too. You guys are really flying up the leaderboard again now. Flixie, what's it been like first 4 games into Global Championships for you?
It's feeling really good, and yeah.
How have you been navigating these last zones as well for you guys? How are you kind of working together to make sure you always get into that end game?
Well, we always look at the zone each other, and then we just like talk about it, how we're gonna rotate, if we're gonna early or late rotate. It's like we just look at the zone, and then from the zone on, we just decide what we're gonna do, and we talk about each other. You know, we're not doing single decisions.
Obviously, this being day 1 of 2 as well. 2 games left today. What is the aim, the end goal for today? What would you be happy with finishing up? Is it absolutely top of the leaderboard, or there or thereabouts kind of in the? What do you guys want to do these next 2 games?
I think if you're top 5 after the first day, you can easily win because it's 1.5 point, but I want to be first after first day.
Okay, and I've got to ask you, Vico, I know you like being out in front of a crowd here, you and Flixie. How does it feel to be out here in Fort Worth enjoying? In fact, make some noise for Vico and Flixie, everyone, please. How does that feel when you got the crowd behind you as well?
It feels great. I couldn't like be more happy about it. It's just like I feel the need to perform better, you know.
You just got a Victory Royale.
Exactly, but
this guy.
Better. I can always do better, you know.
This is it. They can always do better. They're striving for the very top. One more time, please give it up for Vico and Flixie. Game 4 winners there. We're going to take a very short break. 2 games left today on this day 1 of FNCS Global Championships. Do not go anywhere. We'll see you in just a second's time.
Welkom bij de bank zonder aandeelhouders, maar met leden. Die vertellen ons wat er leeft. Zo hopen deze 2 dat hun zoon eindelijk een eigen stek vindt.
Een beetje krap.
Onze leden praten mee over waar we kennis, tijd en geld in steken. Dat maakt de coöperatieve Rabobank onze bank.
Eet smakelijk.
Met een eigen KPN Unlimited abonnement maak je het hele huis happy. Zo geregeld op kpn.com/happy.
Here we go. Can you adjust the rumors of a new boot?
No comment. Can these boots really take your game to the next level? No comment. How good can they really be?
Are they really that comfortable?
Welcome to the team, my guy.
Any more questions?
Oei, het is je boy QC. En vandaag gaan we de simpele slaapkamer van Dylan omtoveren naar een KPN Next Level Game Room met natuurlijk supersnel glasvezel internet van KPN. Wat wil je nog meer? Bekijk de aflevering nu op het YouTube kanaal van KPN.
Giga-gamma deals. Nu zwaarmetalen opbergrek 175 kilo 1+1 gratis. En 12,5 liter Flexa Power Deck voor maar $39,99. Giga veel voordeel pakken? Ik kan het. Gamma.
Dit wil je niet missen.
Sorry Milkshake, er is een nieuwe favoriet. De McCrispy. Nu bij McDonald's.
Deze haastmaker kan je niet laten liggen. Krijg nu extra veel voordeel op SIM-only abonnementen. Tot zo!
Ruik naar luxe parfum met de nieuwe Axe Black Vanilla Douche Gel. Ruik naar luxe parfum met de nieuwe Axe Black Vanilla Douche Gel.
Hoe smaken leeschips met een beetje minder zout? Knapperig? Krokant? Heerlijk. Genieten is een simpel recept, net als Lees.
Hill/mountain kind of cover. It's like, wow, they have so much terrain covered, and that's going to grant you free high ground for the rest of the game. Flixie, though, gets ahead of the moving zone. Queasy jumps just a little too high with that Flowberry Fizz activated. Stuck in no man's land all the way up there in the sky. And what a great bit of shots from Flixie to kind of secure the high ground for them.
Yeah, unfortunately, probably not the best there from Queasy, right? Obviously, they start getting sprayed, so you know there's a team applying pressure on you. You fizz just in case you get chopped, but then you ain't got to jump, man. You jump and they instantly beam you, punished right there.
Is it one of those things where that last game where they had the higher ground, right? They didn't really get pressed for it. This game, they are getting pressed for it, right? Did they kind of like forget that can kind of happen?
I'm not sure if they forget. I think it was one of those ones where you maybe just slip up in the moment, right? It's a very minor mistake. Unfortunate to get caught out by it. But from there, right, when Vico and Flixie went on to take the game, the crowd in here, they were rooting for one team and one team only to win that one, right? Everybody wanted Booga to win. You could feel everybody was getting ramped up every time Booga was on the screen. But Vico and Flixie ruined that party, and you know, they've been ruining a lot of parties for people this year. These guys have been setting the lobbies on fire that they've been in, and it's good to see them get a win here.
Crazy as well, they call out that forecast, right? Just allowing them to kind of have knowledge of where we're going next. That's just one less thing we have to think about. Now all we have to do, ruin your game plan, Booga. Nice try, man. I know where you're going. I'm going to make sure you get boxed out. And then, of course, on the other side, right, you're looking at Booga, and it's like, I have to navigate this building. I'm running on fumes. And these guys are just sitting up there waiting for me to come around this corner.
Yeah, the castle was playing a big part of that. But yeah, me and Levin were like, wait, they're at a forecast tower, and it's not the one over by the railway.
Right,
so some adaptations, right? Maybe that's what we kind of can see from that halftime coach cooking something up.
I mean, yeah, that was a big shock to me. We've all been discussing where they're going to fight Bryson Bolts for the forecast near Reckless Railways. They said, forget that forecast. We're going to head over to, you know, Reels and fight over at the Reels. I mean, they took down, I think, Malibu and Masashi in that game, right, which is a team that's been fighting for that a lot as well. They really made waves in that game, and if they're going to keep on just going for whichever bunker they see fit, I mean, those teams are going to have to really struggle to get a grip on the game.
And we see, because of that game, now 1 point behind Peterbot and Pollo, right? And just think on the flip side, for a moment at the very beginning of the game, we tuned into Peterbot, and you called out something specific. Wow, 600 above Surge. Yeah. This is kind of crazy. But then it all falls apart for Pollo, right? And then Peterbot's put in that situation. He has to solo clutch. And he does put on points, and he's kind of keeping them just at bay. But now these guys are neck and neck.
I mean, what a crazy thing, right? That game was going so well. They were just maxed. The storm surge is going well. I myself have no idea where Acorn and Cold came from. The decisions to just land on a duo right there is an incredible one by Acorn and Cold. Worked out for them. They picked up Pollo right there, and 5th place for that duo, actually.
Yeah, not too bad at all. I mean, I'm looking at those two teams at the top, and the parallels, my mind instantly goes to the sort of narrative people were building earlier this year. Peter dominated. You know, everybody was looking at, is this the new formula to have two amazing figures of each other? When Vico and Flixie joined forces, everyone said, are they trying to replicate that dynamic? Are they the EU, you know, Peter Botomboyo? Even, you know, Vico acknowledged those comparisons himself. He said, hey, look, we still got a bit more to do to get to that level. But right now, at the Global Championships, 1 point between them, they're clearly at that level, it seems.
Just a crazy situation to look at. And of course, I wanted to highlight Bugha taking it there to placement, right? They only did manage to pick up the 2 eliminations, but they take it to that second place. That's a bunch of placement points.
Something about Bugha, right? And this usually happens on a seasonal basis where it's like the start of a new season is usually kind of slow for him when it comes down to tournaments and everything like that. But then whenever it comes down to the actual events, which happens towards the end of the season, he always picks it up, I swear. And I would love to kind of see that trend over the course of these 12 games. Have that happen at the Global Championship. A slow start so far. Let's pick it up.
I mean, again, really unlucky at the end there, right? With the way the zones through Castle Doom. I think my biggest critique of Bugha over the last sort of year or so has been, he's really great at the team right? But when it comes to win condition, putting his team in a position
ja, maar met mij. Bro, als je zelf nog zou spelen, zou je geen champion meer zijn. En dat weet je zelf ook. Ja, maar ga dan niet flexen met iets wat ik voor je heb gehaald. Helemaal niet.
Absolutely, guys. I want to talk so much more. We gotta get back into the action. Game number 5. So, Monster face the best taco.
Yeah, I gotta say, I think that went totally different than what I expected. Obviously, given that Peter Botomboyo fell early, now we have 4 teams in the race that are really close. What really got me though, Monster, was hearing the way that the Dickies Arena just erupted the moment that Peterbot actually went down and Peter Botomboyo were full-on eliminated. It's crazy to think that they're actually trying to battle against all the odds here. Yeah, like I said before, it's everyone against everyone here. Match 5. Match number 5 is kicking off here and now, and the standings couldn't be more closer. A couple of teams, though, are starting to find their strides, right? The top 10 ever evolving. A lot of those notables jumping up a significant amount now, really solidifying themselves in somewhat of a healthy position. Even if all things end now, the amount of points that teams like a little bit more respect here coming out of Huddy and Kovacs, though. Sky Scroll, they're actually going to take over the second floor here at the mansion at Rebels Roost. And the biggest advantage right now for Sky is the fact that he's managed to find Sovereign Shotgun, but at the same time, there's a hammer pump here for Kovacs. And both of these duos, I think, acknowledging the fact that if they take a little bit more time to loot, it could go slightly better. But this could be disastrous. Murstache, Malabuka, they already started to get a little bit more caught up than they would have liked. They dropped 3 placements after the results of that last lobby and find themselves currently situated in 8th. And Alex Worthy, they're trying to make them the first team to fall even. Yeah, Alex has a lot of HP here, but Worthy's a little worse for wears. Worthy falls, and we've already seen 1v2 today. Let's not make it another. Power Alex is already pushing the agenda here. Well played for Australia's Alex and Worthy from Team Power, putting up the numbers. And you know, if things continue to go that way, they'll see themselves in a good standing. But you can see it's not easy by any means to get the first drop in the first weapon. And talk about tough fights that could have went any way. Acorn and Cold seem to have had things slightly favor them this time around. Yeah, but at the same time, Cold losing Acorn and Alex and Sado may have done just enough damage. Fortunately for Cold, he is looking relatively undisturbed here at Brutal Beachhead, but any of those other teams lingering around that southern zone and desert area happen to catch wind of the fact that Cold is a solo, and the reboot ban might be the biggest heads-up opportunity there. Could be disastrous, but Alex, Worthy, the Power Fellows, they don't even get to rejoice in their celebration of coming out on top because Agers and Rise have arrived to the party. So have Batman, Bugha, and Rapid coming from the high ground there, finding tags onto Rise, almost saving the day at this point for Team Power. Agers
DT Rise now have to back off, unaware of what all happened here. Meanwhile, Alex saves his trusty teammate here.
He's got the stairway to heaven up there, though, man. That's kind of insane. Restored Reels certainly getting relatively active, but Alex Worthy probably just happy about the fact that they're going to have an opportunity to keep this one going. Stronger in numbers for sure. Vico and Flixie, though, they seem like they've really been heating up. Shadow hoping that he can cool them off, but Vico at the same time, he knows so much damage has been done, but he's going to find himself on the receiving end this go-round. It's all down to Flixie to clutch up.
Flixie's very good, but going against Shadow here, I do think Shadow is an extremely strong box fighter. The edits come in, though. Look at how fast Flixie manages to respond, but still Shadow with the better shots overall. And now a time to heal here. Flixie has to respect this duo now, and I think he knows that. Tries to go up to find and secure his elimination. Can he track it back here is the question. Seems like he knows where it is, more or less.
At the very least, I think Flixie wants to ensure that whether or not he wins his exchange between himself and Shadow. In fact, Virgo had all the goodies that Flixie could have possibly wanted. It was a med kit that came out of the body loot. So pressure is on now for Shadow. Very high likelihood that Virgo was able to communicate. He got my med kit. And so that means that Shadow has got to act fast if he wants to prevent Flixie from reaching 200 HP again.
He also gets the material, right, which Shadow only has 2 mats of now. So what was once a very promising situation for Shadow is not looking like that anymore. 2AM Shadow gets the first tag put on him. It's not looking good anymore. The jump shot is no good, and Flixie clutches up. And there's not a duo in sight at the moment, so he should be able to save Vico. And I know we put the focus on Vico and his potential, but now you can see he is equally met with a very strong partner.
But you know that every single one of these players has got their eyes set on that elimination feed as well. So for Peterbot and Pollo, they might have at least some slight indication that there's been trouble, at least in match number 5 here for Vico and Flixie. They could look to try and circumvent this route that Vico and Flixie traditionally like to go after and potentially cut them off. Maybe even look to ensure that they can maintain that first place position if you take out second.
This update right now that we're getting onto Clicks and Vino, who's on the move here, just north of the Sandy Steps, but they're seeming to double back. Something wasn't right up there. They're backing on off now. A lot of material to make up for here, so bit of a scrappy start. No elimination. The Australian team of Damon Resigns escaped the drop. Meanwhile, Victor V and Paper possibly in a fight against Chapentini here shortly.
Wow, talk about Medkit Nation though for Victor V. Chapentini are gonna have their work cut out for them if they wanna take up an exchange here between Paper and Victor V. But most importantly still, Paper and Victor V, they have amassed so many boxes surrounding this forecast tower. Chapentini were looking to try and take down for the forecast keycard first, but immediately Paper, Victor V, look at a collapse. Chap fully cracked Victor V. Paper, no, they've got the advantage. Teeny actually gonna get pincered instantaneously, and now Chap trying to see if he can save his own life.
Almost put through a full edit course right there. Victor V at 3 eliminations right now. Flexing how good of a player he really is. Don't let his face fool you. He has experience under his belt. Chat, clearly better on the standings at the moment, but not by much. It's a point separating them now as these 3 eliminations have really jumped them up. And look, it's all for everything, right? They have the card that they need for the rest of the Storms here. Chap has to just back off at this point. Otherwise, he'll start to lose his tournament opportunity here. Game 5 being very late into the day. These are the last chances to set yourselves up with points here. So you got to put your ego aside.
Well, you say Chap might need to back up, but with the way that Rise and Ages are closing in, Paper, sure, he's going to confirm that forecast for himself and Victor V. But at the same time, if they're not careful on the disembark from the forecast tower, Flaming Boost Tube could pose some issues. It seems like Rise and Agers were setting up in a position to try and protect it, try and maybe get a knock-on elimination for any teams looking to take it.
Now, all things considering, the point gap between 6 to top 20 is very, very close. Things start to jump up towards the top 5, so even a team like Paper and Victor V have a lot of opportunity here to really ramp up. Meanwhile, Thomas HD just giving us a show, showing us what he can do with that Monarch pistol. He does it without the scope this time around, so all the more impressive.
That makes me sick to my stomach watching Thomas HD use any sort of sniper-esque weapon, you know? Even though it's the Monarch pistol at the same time. He's just so pinpoint accurate, it's ridiculous, but Batman Booga, Rapid, they're trying to get a little bit of an uprisal here. And Rapid, he's got visuals in his sights, beautiful right side peek, perfect moment to open up. But visuals immediately looking to retreat. And he's gonna go side by side, hip to hip one more time with his duo.
Is dat Booga?
Rapid has set them up a big 108, but
is de andere Booga toch?
Visuals climbs his way back into a fighting
Ja, maar hij is
stance
niet
here.
de echte Booga toch?
Clearly, they're not content for fighting for this.
Ja, maar ik bedoel is niet de
Position here
Booga.
at the bunker, they back off.
Oh,
Booga and
ik
the
denk al.
early update with them for the first time to really see what is unfolding for Booga. No shotgun. Oh wait, yeah, he does. Got a little loadout going on here. Aviv as well on the move right now.
It's a nice rotation so far off the launch pad from the peak of that mountain, but the main difference that I've noticed in Booga and Aviv's game in comparison to what we saw, for example, coming from NA Major 3, typically they like to be aggressive towards the team that is landing on Piney Lane, but that has not been an option for them this game because Toyota and Foley, they're just not willing to take that exchange. They're bailing, they're getting their loot and immediately looking to rotate out, so it's not really leaving Booga and Aviv anyone left nearby. They're having to forcibly create these storm surge situations, and it's not easy to acquire those tags by any means. You miss one shot, that could be the difference between above or below that damage threshold.
That is true, and speaking about big differences, Peterbot and Boyo just got their hands in on that bunker. Let's not forget the bunker will give you access to that modification bench to change your weapons, right? To get yourself nice and comfortable. And now that they have that, they'll likely be looking for the Rift Island to go ahead and take a fight. Meanwhile, 8's Flixie and Ovation Vico back in the game, as healthy as ever when things were almost fading away for a moment there here in game number 5. But they're in first place, they're in the lead, and they're looking pretty situated now.
Wat zei je?
And they're going straight back to home base.
Wat zei je?
No, though, King, Phaser.
Ja, en nog eens in een goede fight, hè. Je had ook gewoon slurp en
depending on
happy.
the approach there for Vico and Flixie, but still inside, deep the storm. Muzz and Epic Whale. Decent amount of material count, though, but it looks like Muzz is going to have to lose at least one of these medkits along the way.
Volgens mij was hij nog op PS4 ook nog.
Locate what he can inside of the bunker, maybe even make use of that weapon mods bench.
Wat zei je?
Over to the other draw spot though with Vico and Flixie here.
Koude is.
It's the landing home. Let's see it though. King and Phaser playing the low ground right now instead of opting for a little bit of a stronger position. So I'm
Wat zei je?
calling bait here, but given the stance, all of a sudden, things switch around really quickly here. King looking for an opportunity, but no. Drop, trying to run here. Phaser must have called back off, and it's not working well. Not right now for them. Vico and Flixie still on the pulse here. Phaser barely gets up to that next layer.
Every shot that Vico lands, it's almost like he's directly telling whoever he's up against, scram. But at the same time, where can King and Phaser actually run to? They are trapped. Vico and Flixie know Reckless Railways like the back of their hands. And sure, I'm aware that King and Phaser, they're bound to have good knowledge as well of the POI, but to the same extent as Flixie and Vico. One of the main takeaways that I got from last night listening to Vico in the player room was him saying, nobody plays Reckless Railways right. We are the only ones that understand this POI, and when somebody is that confident in their knowledge, that's a serious threat.
Yeah, you saw he had every angle. He knew where to cut them off, basically within the building, the structure, and they knew better than to push into the railway itself, given all the cover that's there. So happy with the damage. Meanwhile, Clix and Vino, though, on the move here. Again, no strangers to the storm here. We saw them double back after going north to try to find some tags. Now they're looping their way, again, south and then into the new zone. Everything's starting to piece together. Meanwhile, the standings, one of our top 10 teams are down. Just for that update there, Malibuca and Merstash is that team. Look at this, though. Swizzy, Jacko, from a dub into a fight here, landing on visuals and braids now. Looking for the big shot. Didn't quite get the maximum damage, but still gets the finish off visuals there. And all that material, they are right back into it.
The most important part as well for Swizzy and Yapko is that time to elimination was so fast. It's not going to give a real opportunity for, say, somebody like Yuma in the distance to actually have a chance to play catch-up, look to third-party opportunity, because it appears as though Yuma might even be in that solo situation, and when that's the case, you're always hoping that you can kind of just stumble upon an engagement already taking place, maybe get some shots in that might allow you an opportunity to go for a little bit of siphon materials, a knock, an elimination, points, placements. It's really what everybody is after right now.
Thomas HD and Queasy, damage numbers looking phenomenal right now. I don't think there's anyone beating them in the game here at this given moment. Moving around, though. This is the Mount Olympus, right? Home of Quanti and Gone. Should very likely be up top somewhere. Look at this. You got Janice here. You have Kramsu. A lot of the Brazilian teams there. Persa and Ed.
A little bit of a giggle because if the one surge base wasn't enough, Trulex and Chicho have evolved yet again into maintaining two separate surge bases even. Meanwhile, Aviv Buga tangled up a little bit here right now with Swizzy, but we've seen Swizzy perform already once today, MTF. In a 1 versus 2, and this time he still got his duo with him, but most importantly still, Aviv, Buga, they're trying to do what they can to break through some of these builds, but they're just gonna find themselves cut off. They're not able to actually cross the gap just yet because Buga also needed ample opportunity to make sure that he could regenerate his shields off of what heals they have left, but that's gonna be more than enough room for Yapko and Swizzy to just full on disengage.
Buga and Aviv don't chase either. They just let them go. So it's telling. It shows us that they want another one of those end games. They need another one of those end games, and they can't toss it away. It's a chance for them to go ahead and do just that. But they do need more damage. But talk about that. It seems like Swizzy rotates right into Bryce and Bolt. So not too much longer do they fall. But Peterbot and Pollo, the Rift Island, we already know. They hit the mod bench, they're set up, and then straight to the Rift Island every single time here. And now Shari is so low. Storm Surge going to be giving them a big, big problem here in the coming moments.
The worst part is knowing that it's Peterbot and Pollo. Every time that reveal medallion goes off, it's every 50 seconds, by the way. And again, teams are marked, players are marked for 15 seconds after the fact. That is so much information, and in the hands of somebody like Peterbot and Pollo, it can be devastating for the rest of the lobby, but Cherry, he's managed to find an isolation moment. Worthy trying to do what he can, but the Storm might take him out as is. Instead, Cherry diverts his attention to another Oshi player, and he is going to find Damo in the mix. Couple of knocks, couple of eliminations. Couldn't have come at a more perfect time.
Look at this, though, the setup from Aviv and Buga after rotating. They find Swizzy again, so Swizzy was knocked, picked up, and then ultimately falls back to the hands of Aviv here. You can see, yes, 2 eliminations, so starting to really heat up now. Buga and Aviv come the late half of the tournament. Wait a second, though. Storm Surge is active now. Damage is starting to add up here. Even with that elimination there, they will need a single tag. These are the chances, and when you miss them, it does end up catching up to you. Down goes Bugha to the surge. The next tag will take down Aviv, and they know it's over.
It's a tough break. Devastating one potentially, but at the same time, the mental bounce back, the mental fortitude that players like Aviv and Bugha are sure to compose themselves with. See how they bounce back in the final match of day one here today. But more importantly still, all these other duos, all these other players that still remain, Monster, Scroll, Sky, trying to scale their way down, but crossing bodies of water, knowing that there's teams already set up on elevation, shots just pouring in from multiple directions, and you're still trying to maintain focus for an open opportunity. Scroll can't even take any sort of chance to heal. He knows that if he pauses one moment too long, that's where he'll be taken down. The build count just not where it needs to be. Handful of armored walls remain now for Sky. He's still trying to see if he can get one more shot in. Any sort of a break at this point, but essentially MDF, it looks like they're about to fall just outside the placement point zone.
Yeah, he's got Batman Bugha coming right at him as well. Doesn't quite find a chance to find the tag there. Someone else snipes the elimination there too, and all focus starts to aim towards him, but 46 above here doesn't hold on long, and he just gets melted right out of the game. Meanwhile, Reet and Ritual are down. Rapid and Batman Bugha don't survive the rotate, as you saw there, and so much of the immediate competition, our bubble teams are falling. That's going to make for a very interesting last game of day number one, given how close it's going to be point-wise. So we're going to see a lot of changes come that last round, but Vino and Clicks holding on by a sliver here.
This is too close for comfort, though. Clicks and Vano have practically no space to work with. They've got two separate teams underneath them. Their only saving grace being the fact that Peterbot Poyo nearby, getting those mark indications from that reveal medallion. That's going to be enough for them to emphasize focus onto Reason's box. But again, Acorn, Cold, directly underneath where Clicks and Veno are currently at, and they are looking to be in a much more situated position here. This is tough stuff.
Look who's got high ground again. Flixie and Vico take the chance here while everyone's playing passively boxed up. They snipe up a strong spot, and they already have the marker set up for another high ground spot. And you can tell they're playing for wins here. This is all win condition setups. Meanwhile, Vino and Clicks struggling here below the surge, need damage, they need health. And it's a very healthy Vico and Flixie above them, so not an easy duo by any means, but they don't have that information.
Veno knows that they don't really have much of a choice at this point. They've got to jump into just about anyone's box if they want to keep this Game 5 run going strong, because a refresh is a necessity at this point. The material count entirely too low. They need heals as well, and they're not going to find it unless they eliminate somebody else. But overhead, Vico catches a glimpse of Clicks, takes out a huge chunk of his HP, but at the same time, Clicks actually does wind up falling, and Veno meets a similar fate. Just no escape from the top end of the leaderboard.
And it just plays so smart. Vico and Flixie use those armored walls perfectly to bait them around, and then right when you think they're not interested in fighting, they get at the top on the Vino and Clicks there, and you know, it's just excellent defense, and clearly they're playing so well. It's hard to compete against that. And talking about that, Peterbot and Boyo continue to find eliminations. Take a look at the replay here. While all of that was unfolding, they find threats with the finish there. Now that's 3 elims, another end game, inching its way towards them now, as we're almost to zone number 9. Big moves here for Peterbot. They're going to give up the high ground a little bit here to play the low front side. Very interesting strategy, given that they had mats to work with. But too many teams are alive for their liking, it seems.
Also, the natural elevation possibly working against their favor for the time being. They don't want to get caught off guard, much of a similar fashion the way they've been catching other teams off notice. But Thomas HD, Queasy, they can see all these teams sliding down the mountain face. Tramsu and Clone doing what they can to survive. Similar circumstance there for Cooper, as Peterbot and Poyo continue to pressure against his walls. But just behind, Peterbot saw Victor V and Paper as well. Could be some big fights taking place soon in the low ground.
Let's not forget Kovacs and Huddy were taken out in the drop last game. They were in 4th coming into that round before slipping down his standings now, showing us just how consistent they really are, coming right back into things. Meanwhile, Queasy pushing their way through. Down goes Cooper, looking for the finish. He'll get it. Kanata forced to run up to another layer here. And they might not be in a spot to win the game just yet, but they are racking up a lot of points now once again, coming into the final rounds here for day number 1. Chicho and Trulex, another end game for them as well. Teams just showing their stride. It's very clear who's had good performances here today. Acorn and Cole get chopped out by Flixie and Vico. They are just the talk of the town right now.
Vico, Flixie, Peterbot, Pollo, they just seemingly operate at a different level altogether currently, and everybody else just trying to play catch up. Chicho, Trulex, they've caught wind of Epic Well, but Epic Well doing what he can. It's an even exchange, down to just Trulex versus Muzz. But the question is, will he even manage to find that? Instead, Kovacs gonna opt to play the medkit. It's all down to just placement opportunity at this point.
And then you have Pollo and Peterbot still alive right now, still kicking here. This is the only competition besides Acorn and Cold who can obviously rack up enough points to give everyone a run for their money. Bryce and Bolt are setting up for the high ground win while Pollo, Peterbot, Vico, Flixie are fighting for eliminations closer to the low ground now. They might just clash here in the moments to come as they're standing on opposite ends of the low ground position here. Pollo pressuring everyone nearby. Flixie down, Vico down as well. To the hands of the teams on the other side as well. And look at this, the low ground spot for Peterbot and Pollo, just so content, but now they're looking for high ground.
But the real winners of that exchange, Queasy, Thomas, Vico, Flixie, they all eliminate each other, so now it's just up to Pollo and Peterbot to see what they can do. Bolt and Bryce, though, firm grasp of the high ground, doing what they can to just try and shred through the players underneath. Dukes scrambling, barely managing to throw up some wood above his head, keep him safe for the time being. But at the same time, Peterbot and Pollo, they are titans on this low ground currently.
So Peterbot has to get an elimination here and then go for high ground if he wants to do something, but these teams are not making it easy. Meanwhile, Watson Pings are getting active from the low ground, though the shots are coming in. Peterbot and Pollo find the first few, and there's still points to be earned here, and Pollo wants them all. It's gonna make a huge, huge difference here. Secures the material count as well. That's gonna set Peterbot up for just enough. Bolt and Bryce have been here before. Bryce specifically has won games in person on land. I called it before, this is the team that you have to look out for. They are so talented. However, Peterbot and Pollo just, I mean, they've been ahead of the pack so far.
But Peterbot and Pollo, they got the most recent refreshes. Granted, everyone's building, everyone's burning through it, but Pollo strikes first. Bryce is gonna fall. Peterbot understanding it's all down to Bolts to try and clutch this one up, but it's Peterbot and Pollo after all.
Bolts has been here though, he knows what to do. Don't give him a chance to heal, you have to fight back. Armored walls come out, they have a little bit more math, but Peterbot has too much to work with. Another armored wall, Bolts has an angle. Can he get it? No! Peterbot won't drop him twice.
Peterbot and Pollo strike yet again on the day. Match number 5, and the victory royale belongs to them. First place continuing to extend itself, and that is the real difference maker here today, MDF. We can see our big winners on the screen right now, and Adam's there.
Would you please, Fort Worth, make some noise again for Peterbot and Pollo! Oh, do you know what? I love those moments because this crowd wanted that to happen. Pollo, the Flowberry push there. You guys were low ground, you pushed on through. Talk us through the moment there and when you make that call and how that happens between you guys.
Yeah, I think it was the zone pulled back, so we had like all builds.
Kijk die man zo hoog, bro.
Good angle to kill one.
alle twee. Eentje heeft een fucking lange achterhoofd en eentje is fucking dik.
Peter, how would exactly? I'm sure there's so many aspiring Fortnite players here as well. It's just constant for you guys. Major wins. What is the magic, the secret sauce that is really making you guys, ensuring you get to these top spots right now?
I'm not gonna lie, we have the mythic every season, you know what I'm saying? And me with the mythic, I'm just unstoppable, you know what I'm saying? I get so many eliminations and stuff, so yeah.
Dangerous out there. As well, I'm going to talk about there being this experience right now because you guys have been consistent. We're going to see, I'm sure, a lot more over the course of this weekend. Poyo, what's it been like for you as well? You feel the crowd. One more time forward. Let them hear you guys. It's for you, buddy. They're amazing, by the way. And I mean, this must be a lot of wind in your sails as well. How does it feel to be performing in front of this crowd here at Global Championships?
It feels amazing, especially getting a win. It's like hype, and then like on the walkout, everyone is cheering for us. Yeah, it was great.
Okay, and I want you one more time. Anything you want to say to people, to the crowd right now? To give them even more hype than they are already.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys, and yeah, we're winning this right now.
There you go. Give it up for Peter Butterfly. GG's, fellas. Again, lots more to get excited about here. These guys crushed it. I'm sure they'll continue to do so. Lots more games to go, though. One more left today. After the break, it's coming your way. Do not go anywhere. We'll see you in a sec.
Wat zeg jij allemaal? Is gewoon waar je FSS kan kijken.
We gaan even kijken. Wat is die code?
Eet smakelijk.
Met een eigen KPN Unlimited abonnement maak je het hele huis happy. Zo geregeld op kpn.com/happy.
Welkom bij de bank zonder aandeelhouders, maar met leden. Die vertellen ons wat er leeft. Zo hopen deze twee dat hun zoon eindelijk...
Ik wil net zeggen, dat klopt niet. Ik wil net zeggen, hij kan niet live zijn. Wat hij is daar.
Echt?
Oha.
Nein, ich glaube irgendwas mit 20. oder?
Nee, 29. doch, 29. Lenny und Janis und Pixie auf dem 30.
Ach, oh.
Krass.
Bei jedem Deutschen läuft das gut aus, Ding.
Okay, willst du kurz Replay gehen?
Ja.
Schon drin?
Mhm.
Wo war ich schon? So, wir haben jetzt einmal das Replay von Lenny, da wissen wir.
Die haben eigentlich heute so gut gezogen.
Ja, die haben echt so gut gezogen. Wir gucken jetzt, wie Lenny die Kills gemacht haben, wo die gestorben sind und so. Schauen wir mal. Sie sind aber auch Tag 2 Krieger, ja, das stimmt auch. Ah, der hat die getötet, ne?
Ja, ich schicke es auf die.
Heute noch eine Runde Chat, die wichtigste ist.
Hij heeft wel een goede vriendin, man.
Ja, das ist gar nicht schlecht.
Hä, geil, der hat einfach... ja.
Wat zei je?
Hij heeft wel een goede vriendin.
Ja. Wie?
Razer.
Was heißt
Riese.
Ja.
Bei dem Timeline-Verlauf?
Nee, ik valt er mee. Ik vind het wel een beetje goed.
Ja. Goed, is dan ook einfach...
What the fuck is dit? Hij vliegt.
K-Fest. This is your one shot. Get in with the underworld's most dangerous syndicates. And pull off the greatest heist Outer Rim has ever seen.
Doe dan.
Wat?
Het was daar beneden.
Hoe bedoel je?
Bro, ga terug naar die fucking ding. Naar Fortnite.
Eet smakelijk.
Oh hier.
Met een eigen KPN Unlimited abonnement maak je het hele huis happy. Zo geregeld op kpn.com/happy.
Welkom bij de bank zonder aandeelhouders, maar met leden. Die vertellen ons wat er leeft. Zo hopen deze twee dat hun zoon eindelijk een eigen stek vindt.
Een beetje krap.
Onze leden praten mee over waar we kennis, tijd en geld in steken.
Hey,
Dat maakt een coöperatieve raad.
Ja,
Onze
is
bank.
oké.
Here we go.
Can you adjust the rumors of a new boot?
Can these boots really take your game to the next level? How good can they really be?
Really that comfortable?
Welcome to the team, my guy. Any more questions?
Kijk dit, ja.
Nou, ik kijk.
Deze AI is sterk.
Huh? Oh, dit! Wat moet ik zien?
Er stond Razer AI 7.
4,95 voor een King
Ja.
menu.
Wat de fuck is dit?
Eet als een king, betaal als een burger. Alleen bij
Oha.
Burger King.
Bij een Band studentabonnement krijg je heel veel gratis. Maak net het verschil tussen
What
ik
the
ga naar
fuck?
huis
Dat is mijn skin, hè?
dan. Ga naar
Ja,
band.nl/student.
zie ik ook wel. Ga meer naar voren. What the fuck?
Het lijkt wel erg.
Ruik naar luxe parfum met de nieuwe Axe Black Vanilla Douche Gel.
What is full screen mode?
This weird angle, Pollo's just like, hello, here's my shotgun. I want
Click
to
is?
for y'all, please. My gosh, just so well done. And the fact that they also had the heals. If something crazy goes on, they're like, we got a couple med kits if we have to push it to that point. We also have a listen in from that last game. Take a listen.
Look in front. You see that solo? We're just going left of it. Left
Ja,
of
en
it.
ik word ook gewoon dit het gepumpt door die kankerling.
Je moet het kopen.
Come on, low ground, low ground, low ground, low ground, low ground, low ground. Come. I'm with you, with you.
What?
Why don't we go back to our tarp then? Go back to our tarp.
Nero en Cooper.
We're singing on each other. I can go up. Throw all the way up. Throw all the way up.
Wat? Deed je een double jump en een flip?
Get on me. Chill. Chill. Look up. 100? Get on me. Chill.
He's dropping.
We're good. Chill. Stop. Yeah, take my kit.
He's dropping.
Chill.
Wat? Score hem
Let's
bijna.
go! We're the best, baby!
That's like what,
Come on.
13?
Bro, we're the best, bro! Oh my god! Let's go!
Wat is die pound, bro?
Good job, bro! We're crazy, bro! Let's go!
Yeah, they're super funny. I love too in that moment. He's like, dude, 15, like, to him in that moment, he's just eliminating everyone, right? Like, it's all happening so fast. Just so well
Hij echt via hier
again,
kijken.
to see them playing from low ground just so well. Like, if you said, yeah, they're a low ground, he might be like, yeah, but that's kind of not what they're about.
The thing is, they're an everything team, regardless of the situation, regardless of if they have the mats for high ground, or if they're going to stick to the low ground, they are going to come out on top. And look at that distance. We saw after game number 4 that it was Vico and Flixie in first place by just a few points. Now the lead stretching to 50 points for Peterbot and Poyo.
Yeah, Vico and Flixie were looking really good there as well going into that game. That end game was really solid for them, and just up until they went down there at that point. And of course, that just gave Peterbot and Poyo the green light to make sure they could make the most of that game. Even in that listening right there, they were saying, how many eliminations? Oh, 10? Yeah, it's okay. Most teams were like, we just got a 10 elimination victory. Oh, let's go crazy. But these guys, that's just another day at the office for them. Something else I'm noticing about this as well. Look at that, Bolt and Bryce moving up 19 places up there into 8th place. Huge performance from these guys. The way they held height was really good as well, using these armored walls to ensure that people couldn't chop them down as easily. And it's just this constant pressure. Look at Bolt's inventory. He's used pretty much everything. Only one big pot left to make sure they hold on to that height and maintain it. Really well played from these guys.
And we also saw them on Rift Island as well with Peterbot and Poyo, but choosing not to engage in that. Instead, just using as a little bit of an advantage, seeing where the rest of the lobby is landing, making sure that they're able to be put into an advantageous position, and that is what allowed them to grab this high ground. 8 eliminations before Bryce down Bolt, still doing his best to try and fight him out, but when it's Peterbot and Poyo,
maar waarschijnlijk gebruiken ze dat omdat ze geen
These end games as well. At the beginning of the show, we were talking
ja, maar hij gebruikte ook,
hij
gebruikte het vorige potje ook een
how things going to go there, what's going to happen, are they going to be, is it going to be one of those teams making it to endgame and the other one maybe not? It seems like they've both sort of found a way to play their own game, and of course Vico making that north rotation, finding some other forecast towers if they need them, and then Bryson Bolts are able to make these end games consistently as well. So it seems to be kind of working out for those duos right now, and if Bryson Bolts can continue to do that, I expect him to finish in the top 10 towards the end.
Fantastic coming out too. Kind of what you called out, the fact that Rift Island, they kind of go up to fight Peterbot Poyo, and then they go, whoa, Peterbot Poyo, my bad. Peterbot Poyo, then just like, they just blaze a trail, and they're like, hey, well, they've already done all the work. cool, let's just follow them, right? And then they end in second place.
I mean, even if you aren't able to claim Rift Island, just by getting the material, there is also that weapon mod bench that's in there. And also you get the great rotations from the static launch pads there, or the rifts from around you. Also, a lot of other teams are going to be using the rifts. So if you do need a few tags, well, guess what? A lot of players are going to be rifting around you, and you're going to be able to get those tags. Speaking of a great performance, Acorn and Cold just going absolutely crazy.
Yeah, this is really, really nice to see from these guys. A little bit of a better performance than we have seen in some of the games, but it's one of those where they try to take that high ground, got chopped down. We saw Acorn going down right there, but it's all about Cold. I think Cold can clutch up in those situations. Didn't quite make it happen right there, but this is a team that won't let that affect them. It seems like Offspawn right now is being so much more of a breeze than we anticipated going into the show. So they're able to get these consistently. They're going towards decent loot as well. Even playing for height there didn't quite work out in the end, but this is a duo that I expect to see more of these games.
Absolutely. I'm getting worried. The last game of the day. I don't want it to be over, but we are prepared. It is time. After this game, we go into tomorrow 6 and a 1.5 times multiplier. These duos are everything they can to solidify today. One last ride. Casters, over to you. Lead now.
Ze draagt gewoon polo t-shirt van voor. Die skin wil je wel.
Was a little bit more of a bust.
That's right, and there are teams now getting close to those back-to-backs on land. Talk about Peter Boyo. Let's see it for the last game.
And just like that, we are back in it. Game number 6, day number 1. And Monster, we have seen some pretty crazy 50-50 off the drop, but again, taking a step back now, looking at a team like Pixie and Giannis landing at Redline Rig, and currently just fixated exclusively on trying to maintain the most optimal loop path possible.
You know, what I'm really excited about, or what I'm happy about watching play out today, is that all the rumors were true. Everyone who said, I'm landing on this team, I'm taking that fight, they meant it. And they're showing up just like Power Alex and Worthy here, who take down Murstache for his second game now. Back-to-back, and Malabuka left in the courtyard here to run for himself. Worthy doesn't want to peek as he's got low HP, but so does Malabuka. Alex says, screw it, I'm going for it. Finds one tag, can he get the second? Of course, he can, and he secures the dub there. Back-to-back now on the drop.
Better late than never, after all. And as far as the Power Boys are concerned, Alex and Worthy have finally woken up when they needed to most MDF, because first few matches of the day, certainly not going their way, but to close out here, winning it out over the likes of Malabuka and Murstache of all teams, that's a huge confidence swing.
Very, very well played there, but hold up. I'm holding my breath for a second as Kovacs and Huddy have almost not learned any lessons as far as respecting Scroll and Sky are concerned. It seems like when they get the drop and they have the high ground, they are all action and no fear here. Last game they survived the drop, they made something good out of it, once again making it into the end game. It's very clear that if Huddy and Kovacs perform the same tomorrow, they're going to be up inside that top 10 with a very hefty chunk of money, given that there is $2 million+ of prizing available here in the tournament. So much more to play for than just the bragging rights, of course. 6th place now for Kovacs and Huddy as we get the standings update. And look, the game that Sky and Scroll survived, though, they made something great out of it too. So these are clearly two very good teams.
Without a doubt. More on that later on, though, because right now it's all about Clicks and Benno. They have full-on trapped Damo and Resigns inside of the tunnel now. Here next to Sandy steps, Resigns trying to do it again, but Benno is relentless with the pressure. Clicks, on the other hand, eats way too much damage. That could be so problematic. Damo and Resigns, they're going to manage to escape because Clicks has to fall back. There is no other option. They cannot afford to fall here. They are still maintaining a position within the top 10, but the fact that they've managed to fluctuate outside of top 5, that's a position that can be really difficult to come back from, especially when you remember tomorrow's 1.5 times point multiplier.
Yeah, very scary now as tags come in from the distance as well here. Damo and the Resigns are starting to surge with confidence as they push off clicks clearly, but Vino is there to defend. Now, Resigns looking back, not sure if there's a team potentially sneaking up behind them. You'd be right to assume so can't let his guard down just yet. There is danger lurking everywhere, and it looks like it's about to go down there for Damo and Resigns at the hill, but give it a second here.
The other issue, though, that Veno and Clix have now encountered, though, is that this exchange has drawn out for far too long. The launch pad positioning that Veno and Clix like to try and set up for height elevation, try and look for some surge tags, it's going to be cut short. It's going to be stretched out for far too long. And other teams are now having the opportunity to make their approach instead. Peterbot Pollo already trying to converge onto this location. Forecast Tower in sight as well, potentially, but Aspect, Kazi, they've got to be careful. Lingering around Snooty Station, they don't want to get caught off guard, and sure enough, Peterbot, Pollo, it's all about making it to the launch pad hill.
They're on the high ground right now. If they just peek over, they'll see that there's a lot of opportunity below them starting to develop, but Peterbot's got his attention on the far eastern team here. Glances over in Vino's direction, takes some tags, doesn't quite find them just yet. It's Gyros and Sherry, though, who's building up the high base here. There are roughly 6 teams in this area, all with sight lines on Vino and Clix.
And it comes as no surprise considering that it's the forecast tower that everybody was hoping to potentially get their paws on, but instead, we'll have to sit back and wait to see what happens next here as Clix, Veno, again, they were just prevented from getting optimal positioning to set up for the forecast tower and launchpad plays, and now they've lost that position entirely to the likes of Peterbot and Pollo, and they know it as well. So at this stage, the only option left is for Clix and Veno to confirm these 2 eliminations now onto Damo and Resigns.
Yeah, they're starting to push here pretty aggressively. Clix doing much better job now as he's side by side his teammate Vino. The opponents, Damo on the run now. Built out to the side there. Clix still curious to the fact that he owns some of the territory here. That's going to be a small victory for them in the time being. Up and over they go.
This is where they had initially trapped Resigns and Damo, but at the same time, Damo managing to sneak around out back, but it's only because of the fact that Giras, Sherry, they have moved in to the vicinity. And now Veno Clix, fully aware of the fact that there is just too many numbers surrounding them. It's too close for comfort. They've got to find another way to escape. And the other thing that could potentially be threatened at this point for Clix and Veno is the vending machine. It's going to be, I don't want to say impossible for them to make their way to those resources, but at the same time, how do you break through all these duos already surrounding you?
Yeah, and again, more points lost as well. It's not just, of course, the game starting to slow down for them. It's the points that they're not accruing because Giras and Sherry have effectively taken those eliminations now. Even Aspect and Kaz are just off in the distance. They're listening to what's happening. Jumping on over to other very familiar teams here. XX Ritual, Reet as well. Kind of inside the Doom stat, but you have Muzz here waiting, almost combed up. Slips out the side there. He's very fast. It's not going to make it easy by any means. Out the wall he goes, but it's a 2v1. What can you do? Reet takes him down without a sweat.
I know it's really interesting to actually see Reet and Ritual clashing this early on with Epicwell and Muzz. A passing comment that Reet made in the player room last night was, you know, we missed out on a cash cup, most recent one. Epicwell and Muzz, they were able to get Mysterio uncontested and all the little goodies that he has to offer. And so, have to wonder now, you get a taste of that kind of power and you want to keep going back for it. So Epicwell and Muzz, that might be a fight that they find themselves caught up in for more than just today.
Yeah, that makes sense too, right? You get that false sense of security, like, oh, cash cup went great. Let's
well, it was uncontested, right?
do that again.
You're feeling good. And then Reet and Ritual, though, there to remind them, no, this is still our territory. But again, it could be a clash of the Titans for sure.
Well, Chicho and Trulux have continued to show us that they have what it takes to find their way up the standings here. They've really fought their way up the rankings almost unprecedentedly. No one saw it coming here. But when they make it into the end game, they're just an unstoppable force. You don't really know what to expect from them. You'll find them in the mid ground, sometimes on the height. And all of a sudden now, they are just there.
Trulux and Chicho just have a way of kind of just going unexamined, essentially. Like, it almost seems like they have a very seamless transition from their early to mid to late game, and a big part of the reason for that is that they are just a team that is notorious. They go for the surge bases, they go for the reliable surge tag damage as well. They are just excellent at bottlenecking teams into a certain flow on the map, because wherever they surge base at, you know it's going to be an optimal position that's going to prevent everyone else from participating.
And we did notice that they have the storm information as well, just given to us from that update there. So they know exactly where they need to be, where the next zones are going to be. Moving towards Vico, pushing in on Virgo. Not looking to let them have this for free, but there's an armored wall there. And oh, he's serious about it. You know he's serious, and he's willing to break this one down.
Might be here for a minute. Depends. Imagine another one goes up right after the fact. And sure enough, just in case you thought they were done, Vico and Flixie, they're going to be pickaxing for a hot minute to get into this bunker. Virgo and Shadow know that they are functioning with limited time here. And every second just means one more opportunity for Shadow and Virgo to continue to strip the weapon bunker of all its valuable resources. But this is about to be an all-out brawl here for Vico and Flixie.
Not looking good for Flixie. Shadow and Virgo were ready for the fight there. And another armored wall comes down. So those armored walls are instantaneously put at maximum HP. They clearly have 3 or 4x the health of a metal wall, so it's a good way to slow a team down, especially the second place one. But let your guard down, and now look, team is flying in very, very fast here. We'll get their names shortly. Flixie and Vico is in a world of trouble here potentially now.
I'd say even they're lucky that it seems as though Virgo and Shadow were just out of audio range to hear those shields getting cracked.
Well, they gotta get past their own armored wall,
yeah,
right?
It's
a two-way street there.
It is a two-way street for sure, but at the same time, I definitely respect the decision there from Vico and Flixie, because that fight back that we saw from Shadow and Virgo defending their position inside of the bunker, despite the fact that it was Vico and Flixie, they did not care in the slightest. And I love that out of Shadow and Virgo, because they're a team that's coming in here, and I think a lot of people don't necessarily have many expectations for them, but the confidence that they compose themselves with, even on socials, they are here to try and actually shock the world.
Yeah, they really have matured as players, but look at this. Vico and Flixie now find Jerome and Zagu above them. You know, you take us back to the invitational window where Zagu really put up a performance and won over the hearts of the NA region and honestly the global fan base of Fortnite. Bring him here. He's got a lot of work to do coming into tomorrow alongside Jerome there, but the VODs will tell the story. The practice will show. Vico and Flixie's preparation clearly coming out in spades here, as is Peterbot and Boyos, and we all know they're guided by the same person.
But at the same time, you have such a strong day one performance. You got to be careful that you don't let that confidence transition into overconfidence. And Vico Flixie, I don't want to call it an overinvestment just yet, but they got a whole lot of nothing after investing a decent bit. I mean, they were practically max mats before leaving that weapons bunker position. They were trying to see if they could wait out Shadow and Virgo, but those two were not willing to budge in the slightest. And now Vico Flixie, they didn't have any other options but to leave in a totally separate direction after acquiring nothing out of it as well. I mean, I get it. You're feeling good, especially after the performance they've had today, but moments like that could be disastrous in day two.
Yeah, definitely. And like you mentioned, it's surely confidence, right? Pushing in like that, but give it a minute here. Acorn and Cold now pushing Zagu, or sorry, Rise and Yuma actually. Rise and Yuma, who started off so hot today, have just dropped their mid games for 3 games in a row now, and it is really weighing in on the standings. They're gonna have to hit the drawing board big time now, as they have went from 2nd place all the way down to 14th now, and that just shows you how good of a couple of games they did have, given that they're still inside a very respectable position on the standings. So everyone who falls now, everyone you see getting dropped here, that's gonna be the end of their day ones.
Poor Bolts, man. He's just trying to break through the armored walls that Kramsu and Clone keep throwing his way. And not only that, but he's got to make sure that he keeps tabs on the team that's also based up on a hill behind him. Bolts, Bryce, they're not trying to get greedy by any means here. Pixie and Janice are definitely posing enough of a threat that they are trying to be tactical in the approach here. They just want the immediate fight up against Kramsu and Clone instead, but Kramsu, Clone, at least for the time being, they've got the health advantage.
Flixie, though, finds himself below the surge. It's all making sense now as to why they realize they have to push a team. Gon and Kwanzi at the Railways are going to be meeting the team that is the king of the Railways at this point. And this is the 2nd time now, right? Almost deja vu here. But this time, Flixie and Vico need the damage and the elims to go with it. Flixie gets shot first. Gon puts up a great tag there. But the edit comes through, and Vico is down at the bottom to catch him there. Fox running out, though, here. Can the med kit come in time? Sure can. So Flixie and Vico have a moment here to breathe.
But again, this all kind of stems back to that bunker fight for me, MDF, because they spent so much time that now they are scrambling to try and make up for what was lost in the midst of it. Because they did not get the surge damage that they would have hoped for. They lost a decent amount of their resources, and now they're just praying that they can come out with even more refreshes after the fact, but they've got a long ways to trek through some of that storm as well. All the while, teams like Queasy, Thomas, a little box fight of their own up against the likes of Analex and Sato.
And that really shows you the significant difference of having a strong early game start versus a slow one. When the surge turns on, it is really evident.
Houden mensen zoals Enzo en Teveel gevraagd gewoon 100k kijkers.
They're kind of on that line as well. They survived the first hurdle, but this next one that they know is looming nearby, they will have to stomp past. Andelix and Sato here have had a very difficult day one up against Acorn and Cold, only surviving the drop 3 of the 6 times so far, this being one of them. And now they're met with this almost brick wall, this force that is Queasy.
Samen met Wela. Dat is echt iets wat ik me al heel lang afvraag. Daarom speel ik vandaag met Wela haar eerste Fortnite-toernooi en maak nog echt zieke kills ook. Volgens Wela kan ik niet eerder dan haar de 100k abonnees halen, dus abonneer even voor de boys.
It's likely still going to leave Flixie and Vico sitting just underneath that storm damage threshold, if not even more so piling up against them. All the while, Peterbot continuing to claim as many eliminations as possible throughout the course of the day. These guys have been leading the charge here. Peterbot goes for another one. It just doesn't seem like Analex was prepared in the slightest.
I can just hear the reaction through the headphones of what's going on here in the arena. Clearly the crowd is starting to rally with Peterbot now. Just take a look at that. And the first emote of the day as well. So confidence surging, right, that we've seen.
Flixie trying to stock up as best he can in the Grand Rail Station, but a couple of med kits still might not be enough to deal with this 2-tick zone. He's doing everything he can to make his way across. Bolts in a similar situation, but in fact, it's actually Venno and Clicks on the receiving end, and they're the ones under the most duress here. Venno has got a little bit of shield, but underneath that damage threshold, their final lobby of the day is not going to pan out the way they were hoping. 9th place team in trouble.
kind of crazy. Clicks and Vino fall. Bryce and Bolts jump up above them, and they were neck and neck on the leaderboards, on the standings. So a very, very critical set of eliminations for Bryce and Bolts, and now Vino and Clicks are set back home, basically having to think about today and figuring out how to patch up their gameplay to close out in top 10 performance for tomorrow. But Bolts and Bryce heating up in the back half of the day here. They almost had that victory royale last game, dropping the ball there, which again, to me, I didn't expect it. I really thought Bryce and Bolts had that in the bag, had it secured, but Boyo was just incredible with the angle finding. Hold up. Acorn and Cold now find Hiras and Shiri. They've almost fouled each other from the south side of the zone somehow, swinging all the way here to the north side.
At the same time, though, they need to find some closure on some of these box fights. Spinks, Dukes, just a couple boxes away. Thought they were a little bit closer. It's actually going to be Batman, Booga, and Rapid who are directly next to them. Siyun and Kadu, though, they don't waste any time. They immediately aggress into Rapid's box. They're going to find one elimination there already. Batman Booga struggling with the surge as well, trying to do what he can to play for the medkit, but he won't get the chance. Taken down by the last surge tick.
The Elam credit is going to go to Bolts, given that he did the last bit of damage there, but in the end, now there's a lot to worry about here. Siyun and Kadu obviously looking to fight back because they need a little bit of damage as well. Kado's going to fall there. Siyun's going to fall as well. This is to the hands now of Dukes and Sphinx. Where did they come from? Dukes showing up here to jump into the fight out of nowhere.
It's incredible how quickly they were able to close the gap between themselves. They overheard the box fight commotion, and they knew that's their prime opportunity to strike. Bolts as well, finding Felixi, the dominoes effect. They started off so strong here with the forecast availability as well, and yet find themselves eliminated way outside of where they'd hoped to be. And Thomas and Queasy, this could be a huge moment. I'd say everybody inside of the top 5 even. We're looking at Trulex and Chicho, Cold and Acorn. But again, all eyes on the Queasy and Thomas HD currently. They've been doing a fantastic job skirting their way through these seeds.
All I can think about is that Peterbot and Boyo are starting to run away now, having a chance here to really take the lead on the scoreboard. Second place is down and out. Queasy and Thomas HD have to stay in the running now to keep this one close. Meanwhile, look who's running their way on up. Sphinx and Dukes from the back of the line, starting to skip and hop their way to the front here somehow. Bolt still getting active. Nicely done. Finds Zagu. A big elimination for him there. Armored Wall comes out to protect his flank there.
The problem, though, is that Bolt has likely been recognized as a solo. That reveal medallion definitely in range for Peterbot and Pollo, and they're the ones that were shooting from behind alongside Cooper and Kanata. Bolts, he was already running low on his material count, even transitioning to this point, and now his final 10 builds, hoping that he can scramble into something, anything. Finds a couple more just laying on the ground, but he's been marked yet again. The pressure just continues to bubble in to his builds.
That's the best part about it, is he just keeps getting marked every time he finds a new spot.
That's so depressing.
And everyone's like, oh, a solo. It's Bolts just trying to work his way through. Back to the armor walls he gets, though. Very nice here. And it's obviously Peterbot and Boyo. Like, they are just almost toying with him at this point. They could have pushed at any given time if they wanted.
Look at the duality of the loop that they are functioning with. Queasy as well. He's actually got no builds.
No build.
Queasy is just running it at this point. These walls might not even belong to him. Thomas HD in a similar position, trying to climb up over. See if he can find any kind of elimination. At this point, a refresh is the only option.
Queasy found one. Look, he picks up the Elam, gets a little bit of mats there, splits it with his teammate, but the shots are coming in from the front side now. Has to burn what little bit that he picked up just to stay alive right now, and they are nearing the top 15, the next threshold there. Down he goes, all up to Thomas HD now to keep the dream alive, to earn as many points as possible here. But what is humanly possible when you barely have anything to work with?
He can just break into the top 10. I think Queasy and Thomas HD be very happy with the closure on their day one performance. Even more so still, though, Thomas HD, he keeps looking every direction, every second. It's so difficult to maintain this level of composure. But even as a solo, Thomas HD might be able to make some magic happen.
Up above, though, the scanner is still coming out for Peterbot and Pollo. They have all the information in the world. Top 15 now. 28 below. Down body there. Those could be maps, but no, he needs more than that. He needs to drop teams for placement at the very least, if nothing else.
Wow.
Honey falls there. That'll be full credits, I think, for him, but even if it's max there. Some builds, too. Gets up on the second layer. Shots come in from everywhere. Gets a couple more placement points, and it's something. But now look at this. Kanata Cooper in the end game. Trulex and Chicho once again here. Alive and healthy.
Even more importantly still, they're applying a little bit of pressure here onto Pollo and Peterbot. They are actually forced to just try and punch their way through the mid-ground. You can tell Pollo, Peterbot, they want to maybe take a jab at the height, but Azers and Rise currently in full control and continuing to ramp upwards. A couple of armored walls expended as well, just to ensure that it's not going to be easy for them to get chopped anytime soon. They've also got the Flowberry Fizz as that emergency exit plan, but Pollo, Peterbot across the way, spotting out Kanata and Cooper. The reveal medallion just doing so much as far as helping them to establish exactly which teams, which players they want to aggress.
They are strategically choosing who to target, given that they have all the information that they need. Meanwhile, Geras and Shari are saying, oh, we have a chance to win if we can get out high ground. And they look up. Peterbot spots out Kanata inside the zone, gets a little bit of damage, figures the zone will do the rest. Now focus comes in on the low ground, and it's so smart for them to be down here. They're just earning so many points now that they are jumping towards the 400-point threshold here.
Just in the eliminations alone, they've got 7 between the two of them. Geras as a solo, bound to be marked any second here if he hasn't been already. Pollo, not even gonna bother, instantly goes for the left side edit peak, gets all the credit onto that Geras elimination, and now just a raw 2 versus 2 up against the likes of Azers and Rise.
Peterbot and Pollo went from second to first, and now, at minimal, a second place, but Pollo is always the first to kick off the fight, and he does it in spectacular fashion. Now Peterbot steps up to the plate. Azers is hurt. One edit, it's all it's gonna take here to put him down, but Armor Wall comes through to get his teammate the full reset here. He says, hey, let's not rush it. And then they jump down, focusing up to high ground here shortly. Give it a moment now. Peterbot and Pollo side by side here. Rise and Azers starting to fizz it off. Pressure coming in from the low ground. They're running out of materials. Armor walls are done. They're depleted.
Still decent amount of space for Peterbot and Pollo to work with. Keep in mind,
Wow.
Pollo also still has those 4 armored walls, but as far as the health bar is concerned, Peterbot, Pollo, they are fully in the driver's seat. But that doesn't mean that Rise and Azers couldn't turn this one in their favor. They also need a massive game here to finish strong on the leaderboard.
Definitely, this is going to be a significant moment now. How do you close out day number 1? Second and first, very impactful differences here. Peterbot and Pollo start to swing their way up. They get the angle that they're looking for. Pollo, once again, doesn't quite find it. Peterbot's hurt, though. It's a low ground attack. Pollo by himself here, but the trade from Peterbot up top, he has done what he needed to, and Pollo takes down Azers and clutches out the win from the low ground with back-to-back dubs.
Pollo said it himself, I don't need to worry when I've got Peterbot next to me, and Peterbot could say the same fashion. As long as he's got his duo Pollo, these two can always try to reestablish control, and they took this last game by force.
One more time, back-to-back victory royales. Give it up for Peterbot and Pollo! Fellas, I seem to chat to you a lot on this day one of this competition, and I'm loving it because what we're seeing out there, doesn't matter if it's high ground, low ground, mid, you guys are in control, Pollo. Walk us through the last part of that game there. I mean, it just seemed that, you know, even though you were on the low, you managed to control things perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, it was like last game too. We waited for old builds, and then we went up. We were able to like crack them. Peter got a kill, and then the other one just 50.
I mean, we celebrate. Glad there's people are really screaming your name over that. Someone literally shouted Peter, the loudest thing I've ever heard in my life. and rightly so, by the way. Obviously, Pollo as well. Let's get the credit where it's due. A teammate like Pollo, what's it been like competing in this year, in this competition? Give him his props. How great is this as a duo teammate?
I mean, he's the best teammate possible. I mean, he gets eliminations. He's like a good like IGL when I need it. You know, like we're kind of like, we both make calls and, you know, like we're like the best team.
We're looking ahead to tomorrow now. Today, I mean, you guys have cemented yourselves top of that leaderboard.
Ze winnen gewoon 2 keer achter elkaar, hè, Chess.
Fine indeed.
2 keer.
What do you do tonight? How do you guys kind of like regroup ahead of tomorrow? I mean, do you need to regroup at this point? Are you just going to play it exactly the same way? Pollo, how do things happen tonight? What happens tomorrow?
There's always room for improvement. We're going to look like games tonight and then see what we can do tomorrow.
And Peterbot, you are steps away. Tomorrow, someone's going to lift that trophy. How do you think it's going to be, you guys? How close do you think you're going to come to it?
That'll be us. It won't be close. I mean, we're ahead by a lot. And tomorrow we're going to come out winning.
Fort Worth, do you think Peterbot and Pollo could go all the way? Could they go all the way? I think they think that you could. Look, congratulations again. Fantastic way. One more time. Our Game 6 winners, Peterbot and Pollo! What a way to wrap things up here on the main stage today. Back-to-back dubs for the guys here. Who knows who will get that tomorrow? We'll have to find out. For now, though, back to Zeke and the gang. What a day one.
Game 6. Peterbot, Pollo, win.
What's that, Zeke? Is it? What are you writing?
This is the global script right here. You can see that? Oh, sorry. Actually, yeah. No one's supposed to know that's a thing. I didn't write that. Guys, what have we done? How did we let this happen? How have we allowed Pollo, Peterbot to get a second place, 2 victory rounds on the day in the situations that they have been? This reminds me of Major 2 when we set a 1,000 record, right? It went absolutely crazy for them. They went off, and now they're looking to do the same thing, but not only in just NA. No. They're looking to show up every other region.
You ask how we let this do it. No one can stop this from happening. This is what we've been talking about for the last year. Peterbot and Pollo have absolutely dominated. They have become the demons of North America. Yep. They have broken so many records this year, and they are here to finally put out all the doubt, to show everyone that we are the best. This isn't luck. This is ours, and we have deserved it.
And yet again, they're playing the end game so well. You saw Pollo talking about it right there. Another very similar end game to what we saw last time. Going into this, Peterbot and Pollo were the team that held hype for the longest out of any duo this chapter. It seems like they've changed things up a little bit here. They're more than happy to play those low ground layers, finding those eliminations. And I said it to you, Kelly, I was like, how are they always getting this medallion, this assault rifle? How are they getting it every single game? They're making the most of it in day number 1 as well. It's all about day 2 now, though. Are they going to be contested for it? Is someone going to throw a spanner in the works? Let's wait and see.
Well, when you asked me, I was talking about Grim Gate, and when we saw Acorn and Cold, one of the best duos in the world, try and fight Peterbot and Pollo for that spot, and they lost, and they left. Acorn and Cold, who is one of the best teams contested, left Peterbot and Pollo. No one is going to be fighting for this. We might see some things change for Major 2 or for Day 2, because anything can happen in the FNCS Day 2 competition, because it is that 1.5 times multiplier. But not just going for the coin, for the mythic weapon, not just going for the forecast towers, but also going for bunkers, going for the Rift Island time and time again, and sticking to the low ground so that they get those refreshes. They get all that loot, finding splashes. Zeke, I heard you losing your mind when they found those.
I can't. Like, you know, that's the second time now. The game before, they run in and they find the armored walls, and that was a difference maker. Here, they find the splashes in a situation where they're thinking, okay, we've cracked them. They're on whites. They're out of shield. And then they're like, yeah, splashes. We're both up to 200 again. Good luck. We have a listen in from that game-winning moment. Take a look.
Spray this. Give me coin. No, I don't think we look for a kill. Okay, 120.
Chill.
Ready?
Body here,
I'm done. Chugs, get the chugs!
Where?
Chugs.
I have 6, bro, 6.
Nice.
I got ammo, Take.
Reload your guns and stuff.
80.
I'm dead, probably. 100 on bolt one! I'm not giving... One, spray out!
Dead,
let's
go!
You're the best, baby, let's go! We're the best players in the world on my life. Let's go, bro. Let's go.
Man, just an unbelievable performance here in day number 1. And again, this isn't just like a major, and this isn't just a major self-contained to its own region. This is the peak of Fortnite. This is the toughest lobby we should see ever, right? 6 regions, the very best of all regions. And yet Peterbot and Pollo are performing like this. Mini Miner, I'm terrified going into day 2 and a 1.5 times multiplier.
Yeah, and I'll tell you who isn't terrified. Peterbot and Pollo. You saw it right there in those comms. Just when you watch them play, it looks so hectic. It looks so crazy. It looks like they're having an absolute madness on the comms. We do a listening right there. Very, very calm. Pollo's doing such a great job at listening to Peterbot. You can tell he's sort of the more vocal player in the duo, and the comms are so precise. It's something we don't really get to talk about too much because we don't get to listen in too often online and stuff like that. But just the art of communicating is so understated, and for these guys, they do it so well. Every single thing that they say is containing some value.
Oh
my god.
142.
That is a
103.
150-point lead for Peterbot and Pollo. 45
143
eliminations. That is 18 more than any other duo
Ik kan
on
echt niet
this lobby
rekenen.
list.
I want to point this out, and I know you guys at home are in the stadium and you can't see this. All I did was just do a quick, just 360 to just look at the faces of the people in the crowd, and they all had the same reaction. No, there is a 150-point lead going into tomorrow, and all they have to do is just keep doing exactly what they're doing, and those points will start to add up. They'll start to get out of control. Someone has to try and stop these guys.
You know when you see a king and all the subjects from around the land slowly come up and pay their respects, kiss the ring? That's what we're seeing here right now. Every player coming up to Peterbot, everyone giving him like high fives and handshakes and stuff because he has earned it. He has earned the confidence. And I also love the respect for his own duo mate, Pollo. This isn't just the Peterbot show. This is the Peterbot and Pollo show. And Peterbot knows that. He knows how good of a player Pollo is, the best teammate he could have had. And here they are showing up on the biggest stage in the world.
That's a fantastic point, right? I think a lot of times we tend to talk about Peterbot, and it's not because we don't know that Pollo is just like an incredible kind of pairing with him. It's just a lot of times Peterbot's doing these kind of crazy things. So I love in this last game, we get that Pollo clutch, right? We get to just put a nice little stamp on it. Don't you ever disrespect Pollo because he is also just as strong on this team. I wanted to take a look here at some stats from the day. We can bring those up. Yeah, so let's just see. Oh yeah, eliminations, solo impact points, builds placed, and damage ratio. Crazy that Peterbot has 2 of those stats, eliminations and the damage ratio. He's been putting in some work, Kelly.
2.74 damage ratio is absolutely insane. Mini, I'm at a loss for words.
Yeah, I mean, damage ratio, for those that don't know, it's all about how much damage you're doing versus how much you're taking. So that means he's almost doing 3 times as much damage as he's taking from other players. I think a lot of that is down to that mythic assault rifle, knowing exactly where those teams are with that medallion as well is going to play into his hands, but just the aim that he's able to display is absolutely incredible. And I mean, this is someone that, you know, we've talked about how an incredible year they've had. Was it second, first? To top it off with a global championship, this would be the best, most dominant year of any duo in Fortnite. Easily.
Ik vraag me af waar die bruine persoon is, die bruine man.
Tomorrow, 1.5 times. I'm just saying, guys. I'm just saying. Okay, let's take a look at these standings one last time before we start to wrap up the day.
We have to talk about other duos.
I know we have to talk about other duos. Just pretend Peterbot and Pollo don't exist for a moment there. Thomas, HD, and Queasy currently sitting at 295 points as well. They've been performing fantastic throughout the day. Obviously, we've seen a couple of gatekeepers, right, to the duo, and that is, in fact, Peterbot and Pollo. But when they're not in the mix, Queasy and Thomas have taken hide, right? They've had these really beautiful rotations. They've been putting on a show. It's just, you've got Peterbot and Pollo in your way.
Wouldn't it be their destiny to have an incredible grand finals, but still end up in second place? But still, Queasy, Thomas HD showcasing just why they are such incredibly respected duos here, the communication, the synergy between these 2 players here. And obviously, this day probably didn't go as well as they wanted to, but still ending up in second place is a great performance after day 1.
And now for these guys, I know even more than anyone, they'll be sitting in the VODs. I think they're probably already in. They've probably just ran out straight to the VODs because because second place, although it's good, it's a good situation to be in, these guys are winners. They want to make sure they put themselves in the best situation possible to find themselves in a better situation tomorrow. I think they're a team that can benefit from these that 1.5x multiplier. I'm really surprised and impressed as to how well they're playing, being able to use that launch pad to rotate on out, finding Storm Surge tags. I must highlight Thomas HD with that pistol. We gave a little bit of a preview to it earlier. Every single time we seem to switch to him shooting that pistol, it seems to be connecting with the other players. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, Queasy said it himself. He was like, on one of the post-game interviews, he's like, yeah, I did like 200 damage. Thomas is doing like 600, 700. I'm just here following and making sure to lead the way. So it's a really nice dynamic between these guys, and I hope to see more from them tomorrow.
Another duo that I'd really like to talk about on the leaderboard there in our top 10, representing the Asia region.
Yeah.
It is going to be Koyota and Mipoli. And we actually thought it was going to be Rise and Yuma currently. They were in second place, third place at one point earlier on in the day. But jumping up into the top 10 at the end of day one is absolutely insane.
Yeah, no, really, really insane. And on that note, another team that I'm really excited to see up here as well, Hutty and Kovacs in that 6th place position. Funny story about this as well. Kovacs is a player that didn't make last Globals. I was lucky enough to be at the Global Championships last year. Speaking to him behind the scenes as well when he was in the audience, he said to me, he said, Miniminer, I will be on that stage next year. I will be competing, mark my words. Here he is. He's not in the audience, he's competing, and he's doing incredibly well out of that Rebels Roost drop spot as well. It seems like they're navigating it really well. And that's the sort of thing that this game's all about, right? You can just think yourself, right, these guys are on that stage. I want to be there. He put in the work and he's seeing the rewards. Really good start from those two.
Two more teams that we didn't really give too much credit for at the start. CZB and Nathan doing a great job right now in 8th place. And Dukes and Sphinx, a lot of us, and myself included, I don't know why we don't give them the respect. They're multi-FNCS winners. They've done time and time again, especially at a LAN setting, they've performed really well. So to see them currently in 9th place, I love to see it.
Absolutely. Day one is all about setting kind of ourselves, right? Because when we come in tomorrow, we've got that 1.5 times multiplier. Have some of these duos done enough, right? Because if you're at that deficit, you have to work that much harder going into tomorrow. But for someone like Peterbot and Pollo, they're so far ahead, they could look to take advantage of that. So how do we look to approach that tomorrow?
I think it's possible. I mean, with a Victory Royale and 10 eliminations, that garners you 160 points, which would be the separation. Obviously, that means that Peterbot and Pollo have to go down off drop, which I don't think is going to be happening. But, I mean, when we look at day 2 teams, historically, Acorn and Cold perform absolutely insane on day 2, and they are currently in our top 10 list. I think that they may have some secret strats. There's also probably some teams, like you said, that are going to be VOD reviewing, looking at their replays right now, and kind of seeing, is there, like, you know, a little hitch in the armor of Peterbot and Pollo?
Yeah, and I think what's most important for Peterbot and Pollo here is that they took advantage of today. I think, you know, we all sort of knew what was going to happen. We all knew what their strategy was going to be. Everyone knew what was going to happen. They were going to get that medallion. They were going to get that mythic assault rifle, go crazy. But now some teams can hit the VODs. They can think, right, how can we sort of approach this? Maybe we land on them. Maybe we try and take that NPC and then dip on out. So it's really good from them that they were able to take advantage of that situation while they had it, because they might not have it tomorrow.
Yeah, there's a few moments really on in the early game after they do get that coin and the mythic weapon where they kind of just go along the river, and you can see them looking back to the rest of Raft, seeing if there's a few shots they can get, but also just paying attention to see if anyone else is. They're not even building, they're not even tarping, even though there's some incredible duos landing next to them. So if the other players are aware that they're kind of vulnerable during that moment, that might be an opportunity. But again, it's Peterbot and Pollo. As soon as they see another player, they're just going to beam them and eliminate them.
Yeah, it's almost like a signal for like, oh my gosh, someone shot at us. I guess we're getting some more back points. Let's go. Wow. Well, Fortnite fam, we just thank you guys so much. That wraps up day number 1 of the 2024 FNCS Global Championships. Tomorrow, we look to play another 6 games with a 1.5 times multiplier. So until then, we love you. Keep yourself safe. We'll see you on that battle bus.
Ik was misschien een beetje laat vandaag, chat. Met streamen, maar morgen ben ik er op tijd bij. Ik moet even straks kijken hoe laat het begint. En dan ben ik er morgen weer bij. Ik wil net nog iets zeggen, maar ik ben vergeten wat ik wil zeggen. In ieder geval... ik weet niet wat ik wil zeggen, maar in ieder geval morgen ben ik er weer bij. Ik hoop dat jullie hebben genoten van deze stream. En dan zie ik jullie morgen weer waarschijnlijk. Rust.